Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Pat's Pulpit pregame preview. I am Rich Hill, and with me, as always, is my good friend Alex Shane, here to talk about Week 10 of the NFL season, specifically as the New England Patriots take on the Denver Broncos for Sunday Night Football. Before we get to that, Alec, important question. How are you doing?
I'm all right, my man. I had a pretty restful bye week. I had a good time off. I enjoyed a weekend free of football because the NFL stinks this year. Didn't watch any games last week, but we are back into it now. Another fun-filled day of football. A lot of really quality product out there on the field, and I'm psyched for a Sunday night matchup that earlier in the year, maybe around September or so, was going to be Bills, one of these marquee matchups, potential Super Bowl or AFC Championship preview. Now, not so much.
Yeah, no, definitely. This is going to cap off, hopefully, in a good way, what has been a generally unexciting week of football. The Rams beat the Texans 33-7. Falcons beat the Cowboys 27-7. The Steelers put out some terrible product and barely eked out a win against the Indianapolis Colts 20-17. The 49ers got their first win of the season, beating the New York Giants 31-21. Garoppolo will start after their bye week next time. But a bigger blowout this week, biggest one, Saints beating the Bills 47-10. It wasn't that close. There was a drive apparently where the Saints went 10 plays for 94 yards and they ran the ball every single snap. They did not throw the ball, and Drew Brees capped off that drive with a run for a touchdown. The Buffalo Bills were just completely embarrassed. They got whatever happened to the Dolphins last week, and the Jets also lost to the Buccaneers, who were a team that everyone was saying had quit on their team. Alec, have the Patriots won the AFC East yet?
No, they haven't, because this is the 2017 season, and I think it's going to come down to the absolute wire, honestly. The Bills, again, I say this a lot in these pregame shows, which are kind of counterintuitive because it's supposed to be like an analysis pregame, like experts breaking it down. But once again, I have no clue what's going on. Bills lost to the Jets. They get blown out by the Saints. I don't know if anyone watched the Jets game. If you didn't, good for you. Ryan Fitzpatrick returned to his old team. I think there was a sequence where Fitzpatrick and McCown threw interceptions on back-to-back plays back to each other. There's just a lot of garbage in the AFC East right now. And those Bills that we thought were really solid going in, they've lost 2 straight now. Maybe the wheels are coming off. So we might find ourselves in a situation, depending on how tonight plays out, how the second half of the season plays out. Maybe this is the night tonight, this Broncos game, where the Patriots start separating themselves a bit from not only the AFC East, but the AFC as a whole. Here's hoping.
Yeah, and it's very, very true. So I actually crunched the numbers a little bit to talk about when the Patriots could possibly clinch the AFC East. Earliest possible time is in 4 weeks, after week 13. And so the Patriots are on the road against the Broncos, on the road against the Raiders, at home against the Dolphins, and then they're on the road again against the Bills. If the Patriots win all 4 of those games, there is a chance that the Patriots could clinch the AFC East with 4 weeks to spare. And part of what is necessary to happen, and I want to know if you think that it could take place, is for the Bills to lose their next 3 games. And those 3 games are on the road against the Chargers, Chiefs, and then hosting the Patriots. If those 3 take place and the Patriots win their next 4, then there's no way for the Bills to win the AFC East. Do you think that the Bills will lose their next 3 games?
No, I don't, Rich. Again, this is a season, I think I talked about it a little earlier on in the year. I genuinely believe even more so now. I'm doubling down on this. I think there's going to be maybe 20 to 23 or 24 teams still in the playoff hunt in week 17 of this season. It's going to be that kind of finish in the NFL this year. I don't think there's any real separation in the AFC at all. We have the Eagles in the NFC and maybe the Vikings, but other than that, it's an absolute mess in both conferences. I don't think any one team's going to pull away enough, especially with 4 weeks from today. There's just no way that's going to happen. There's too much chaos, too much hubbub, and too many up and down this season. So I'm going to go this delves down to the wire for the playoff race.
Yeah, well, it would be the ultimate 2017 season if the Bills somehow beat the Chiefs on the road in 2 weeks. But 538 has the Chargers game as the most likely for the Bills to win. The Bills have a 46% chance of winning. There's, according to 538 again, 29% chance that they lose their next 3 games. So we'll see if that happens. But the only other thing that the Patriots would need is for the Dolphins to lose 3 out of their next 4 games. And that's probably the taller order right now because we don't actually know if the Dolphins are good or not. They play on Monday night against the Panthers. Then they play the Buccaneers, Patriots, and Broncos. And the Dolphins are actually supposedly favorites over both the Buccaneers and the Broncos. I find that hard to believe. I don't think that'll actually take place, but they only need to lose 3 out of the next 4. I would expect them to lose against the Panthers and the Patriots and probably 1 against the Buccaneers and the Broncos. Do you think that there's any chance the Dolphins go 3 for 4?
I can definitely see that. But again, the fact that I think that might happen means it's the opposite for me. I'm going the Costanza route all the way to the end, so it's probably not going to happen. Watch them win 4 straight. Watch the Patriots lose like 3 straight. And all of a sudden, the Bills, Patriots, and Dolphins are all like tied going into week 15 of the season at like 8-6. I can like see that happening so easily. But, you know, you look at this Broncos team, which we talk about since we're playing them tonight. I just don't know what to expect from them. The defense is solid, but they've been asked to do a lot this year. They're talking about getting blown out, but the defense is on the field for the vast majority of this game, and any defense is going to wear down with that kind of little lack of offensive production. And you just wonder, can this Broncos offense find a rhythm under Brock Osweiler? Nothing I've seen so far lends itself to me to believe that, but this is a Sunday night game. It's at home. It's in Denver. Brady's kind of struggled there. The Patriots are 3-3 after a bye week over the past 6 years. They're no longer invincible after the bye. Rich, what are your initial impressions in this Denver game?
I'm a little nervous just because of everything that you said. I feel like Denver, mile high, is a house of horrors for New England. This is a really good defense still, despite everything that you've seen, despite the fact that they allowed 51 points to the Eagles and 29 to the Chiefs the week before. This is still one of the better defenses in the league. Maybe they're not the best like they had been for the past 2 or 3 years, but they're still one of those top 3, top 5 units, and they can give the Patriots a lot of problems. With Marcus Cannon out at right tackle, that means that Von Miller is going to square off against Adrian Waddle, and that could mean a really long night for Tom Brady in the pocket. So I'm a little nervous about that. And when you combine the possible weaknesses on the Patriots offensive line with how much the Patriots are relying on the deep ball this year without Julian Edelman, and the fact that they don't really have a reliable or consistent short game, Chris Hogan's out as well. There are a lot of pieces in play for it to possibly just come crumbling down for the Patriots if the Denver Broncos are able to generate a lot of pressure. Do you think that's how it's going to play out, though? That's the question.
Yeah, no, that is the question. How are we going to see this game playing out? The Broncos offense is putrid. They are historically bad. I can't say that any real stats about it, but you look at they just can't seem to score points to save their life. The defense starts off strong, but as I mentioned, they just get tired down the stretch. However, where the defense excels, the Pats have been kind of weak this year. You know, even with a healthy offensive line, Brady's getting sacked more than he's ever been sacked last season already. Adrian Waddle is a improved and improving tackle, but he's not a guy you want there every down. Marcus Cannon's a very big loss tonight. Mike Gillislee's a healthy scratch tonight, so blitz pickup might be an issue for these running backs, these smaller guys. James White, Dion Lewis, will they be able to pick up a blitz on a Von Miller stunt around or something like that? And a quick release with Edelman out, and Amendola is playing tonight, but he's banged up. Brandon Cooks hasn't been the reliable quick out guy, so it's going to be a lot of very short passes if he even has time to do that. If it's going to be a Broncos win tonight, it's going to be a pretty low-scoring affair, I'm guessing.
Yeah, we could see kind of a redux of last season when the Patriots won like 16-9. They just weren't – they got the lead early on, and they just said, you know what, the Broncos can't win. Let's just run out the clock. I could see them doing that again this year. As you said with the inactives, Marcus Cannon is out. Cole Croston has got his redshirt year. He's also inactive. Mike Gillislee and Chris Hogan are not playing on the offensive side of the ball. And so my question to you, with Gillislee as a healthy scratch, that leaves Dion Lewis, Rex Burkhead, and James White as the guys in the backfield. If the Patriots don't have a quick kind of movement receiver other than Danny Amendola, do you think that the Patriots running backs are going to play a big feature as receivers today?
I think that's the only real answer you have against this pass rush, right? Quick outs. Their coverage linebacker is probably the one weak spot in the Denver defense. They're good linebackers all around, but in coverage against elusive backs, they struggle a little bit. So I think Dion Lewis and or James White are your guys today. Probably the reason that Gillislee is out is because he's a more between the tackles power back. You're going to have trouble moving the ball between the tackles against the Denver defense. So why not create the mismatches? Let Tom Brady read the coverage before the snap, motion his guys out wide, and let them do the underneath stuff. This is the kind of game Julian Edelman has a field day in. Unfortunately, he's out. I don't want them going too hard to Danny Amendola because this is also the kind of game he gets banged up pretty bad and we see him out of time for a while. I don't want any hospital balls to him over the middle this week. So hopefully James White, Dion Lewis will split their carries enough. And with Rex Burkhead as the kind of between the tackles and the hybrid guy, we saw him do a really good job last week or 2 weeks ago, I should say, against the Chargers. He had a really solid game. Hopefully he can build on that. And Gillislee's absence won't be felt as much because we have those receiving backs coming out of the backfield.
Yeah, I agree. I think Rex Burkhead's going to be in line for a pretty big role. The Patriots have seen Dion Lewis giving them a lot of successful runs in the short yardage situations or just close to the goal line. I think they need to give him more opportunities, as well as Rex Burkhead now that he's back from his rib injuries. So those two should see a lot of opportunities on the field because they can catch. They're also reliable runners. They can provide some power with Burkhead. They can provide a little bit of elusiveness with Dion Lewis. Another position of note, tight end Martellus Bennett will be active today, which is a huge shock because he joined the team on Friday. They apparently felt that he has enough to offer the team, probably in the red zone where the Patriots have been struggling and where Chris Hogan's absence will surely be felt because he was the team's leading red zone target. With him out of the game, that means that Rob Gronkowski and Martellus Bennett could have a pretty big game, as could Dwayne Allen, I might add, and Jacob Hollister, but Dwayne Allen, give him some props. The Denver Broncos defense is the second worst in the league at covering tight ends. Alec, do you think that the Patriots tight ends are going to have a big day?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think on paper, the answer is yes, because the matchup you said, the second worst defense against tight ends. However, with the offensive line so banged up, blocking tight end is going to be a big factor today. You might have guys stay at home, chip block, supplement the pass rush a little bit. So maybe the routes might not be as crisp or timing specific as we'd like them to because guys are asked to stay home once Brady reads the coverages. So if Gronkowski and Bennett are asked to stay in a lot, that might affect their play. However, one area where your boy Dwayne Allen has excelled is as a blocker. He's a pretty good blocking tight end since he can't seem to catch a pass this season to save his life. Despite your continued predictions week after week, he catches his first pass. I'm going to ask you in a minute if it's going to continue your predictions, but I'll get to that in a minute. I think Dwayne Allen actually, believe it or not, might be my offensive X factor today, just because, just because of the versatility he offers as a blocker. And I think if you're going to ever make a prediction that he catches a pass, today is going to be the day because I feel like he's such a non-factor in defensive coordinators' game planning. If he's in there in a big jumbo set as a blocker and like he swims out to the outside and catches down the seam, this could be his day to catch a pass, Rich. So are you going to hop on the Dwayne Allen train until he catches first NFL pass from Tom Brady tonight?
You just stole my thunder. You stole it. It's gone.
Yes.
It's gone. I thought that the return of Martellus Bennett could signify a pretty big opportunity for Dwayne Allen today because of exactly what you said. The other teams are going to be so focused on covering Gronkowski and Martellus Bennett. Who's going to cover Dwayne Allen? Apparently, coaches are just saying that no one feels the need to cover Dwayne Allen when he's on the field. Tom Brady and Dwayne Allen, I'm sure they worked on the report during the bye week. He will get his first catch of the season today, mostly because the Broncos are just atrocious at covering tight ends, but also because of the value that Brandon Cooks has as a receiver. Rob Gronkowski will be drawing away a lot of attention down the field. Patriots need something to happen in the short range. They need to generate some quick passes. Dwayne Allen has not struggled to get open. He's just really struggled to connect with Tom Brady. This will be the time for him to shine. He's going to come with 2 catches today, Alec. He's going to have 2 catches on the day.
You're doubling down your prediction. I like it. Speaking of covering tight ends aside, this Broncos secondary against a receiving core that basically consists of Amendola and Brandon Cooks. That's pretty much it for the receivers. And so that's obviously a mismatch in favor of the Denver Broncos, in my opinion. Aqib Talib will probably see time on Brandon Cooks with safety help. Amendola is not going to have a harder time shedding his coverage. Do you see the receivers being a factor at all today in today's game?
Actually, that was going to be my X factor. My X factor is going to be Philip Dorsett, who's going to see a bigger role because Chris Hogan's out. Patriots need to have another wide receiver step up. And as you said, there's Brandon Cooks, and then there's Danny Amendola, and those two should see the bulk of the touches out there. But when you look at the strength of the Broncos secondary, they will have Aqib Talib most likely covering Brandon Cooks the entire day. They'll have Chris Harris covering Danny Amendola in the slot. So those are their top 2 guys. They were all pros last year. They're going to match up against the Patriots' top 2 receivers. And that leaves Philip Dorsett likely in coverage by Bradley Roby, who's an okay cornerback. He's not great. He's a former first-round pick. Belichick always loops him in with the other guys when talking about the caliber, but it's just very apparent that he is not the same quality. And so the Patriots are going to try and get some generally favorable matchups against these cornerbacks. And I think that Philip Dorsett is going to be an important part of that because when he matches up against Bradley Roby, he's going to have a few opportunities down the field and he's really going to have to reel them in. I think he will get at least 4 or 5 targets on the day. And alternatively, he will also have some value if he's able to draw Aqib Talib away and generate some favorable matchups for Brandon Cooks against Bradley Roby. And so that's where Philip Dorsett comes into play, because Patriots might want to deal with Bradley Roby on the field, or alternatively, maybe Dorsett won't even play and they'll just run 3 tight ends the entire day. Who knows? It's 2017. But for right now, I'm sticking with Philip Dorsett as my offensive X factor.
So you are calling 4 to 5 targets / catches for Philip Dorsett and 2 catches for Dwayne Allen. That's what you're saying today against the Broncos.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a random day.
Yeah. Well, again, this is the random season, so why the hell not? We touched on Martellus Bennett. He is back, picked him up off waivers. What a wild story that is. I don't know if you saw his Instagram rant about how the Packers knew about his injury. I'm not going to get into that. Who knows what's coming out of his mouth, what he's thinking. The bottom line is he's back in the Patriots roster. He's familiar with the system. His injury obviously is not hampering him to the point where he can't play. One thing we've talked about week in and week out, Rich, is red zone offense. It's atrocious. It can't stand, especially against a stingy defense like the Broncos. If they get down inside the red zone, they can't come away with field goal attempts. Is Martellus Bennett the answer to the red zone woes?
Absolutely. And wouldn't it be hilarious if Martellus Bennett catches a touchdown and goes for the Lambeau Leap? I can absolutely see that within his character to do it. It would happen if he catches it. But I do think that he's going to help out a lot. And part of it is because he's that big body player. And you look at who Tom Brady has been targeting in the red zone this season, and it's Chris Hogan and Rob Gronkowski. Those are really the only 2 players that he's given considerable targets. They both had 10 plus over the course of the season, compared to Brandon Cooks, who has had 1 red zone target. And, you know, he has some going to James White, but that's usually like a last ditch effort. He has no one else open. So the Patriots primarily go to their taller receivers. They haven't had the best efficiency rate this year, but adding Martellus Bennett into the mix, maybe it's not going to take place today because the Broncos defense is so good. It's just, he has to integrate himself a little bit more, just learning the new offense, what's his role going to be. But for the second half of the season, with Martellus Bennett and Rob Gronkowski and Chris Hogan out there will be a lot more favorable opportunities because they haven't felt like they can put Dwayne Allen or Jacob Hollister out there with any real consistency. And so maybe that'll open up some opportunities for Brandon Cooks, or we could continue to see Brandon Cooks drawing double teams, and that leaves Martellus Bennett and Chris Hogan with single coverage. Patriots should be able to generate a few more touchdown opportunities for the rest of the season. But let's go to the other side of the ball pretty quickly here. So the Patriots will be missing Malcolm Brown, who is inactive with his injury, along with Cassius Marsh and Eric Rowe. Those are the 3 inactives on the Patriots defense this week. Malcolm Brown is probably going to be the biggest loss for the Patriots from a defensive perspective, because Broncos running back CJ Anderson leads Denver with 573 yards from scrimmage. Jamal Charles, the former Chiefs great, is 3rd on the team with 307 yards from scrimmage. So the Broncos really do rely on the running game. Do you see the Patriots having any problem with Malcolm Brown sidelined and Ricky Jean-Francois active for his first game in New England?
You know, it's funny. Obviously, what Belichick likes to do is take away your best weapon, make them beat you with your 2nd, 3rd, 4th option. I think what he's going to want to do in this game is kind of do the opposite of what he did to Peyton Manning a couple of years back, where they invited them to run the ball nonstop, and they racked up like 200-plus rushing yards, and Manning could never get into a rhythm. I think they know Osweiler is struggling. They know Osweiler is still trying to get reacclimated to the system. He's being inaccurate with his deep balls. He's getting pressured. He's kind of scrambling and hearing footsteps. So I think the Patriots actually more or less not sell out for the run, but they really stack the box and make generating yards on the ground very difficult and force Osweiler to go to the air and to beat them that way. So I actually say, yes, the Patriots do succeed against the run. They're able to stuff the run. David Harris is my defensive X factor today. I think he's my defensive X factor ad nauseum going forward with Hightower out. I think he's going to step up. I know you're the Allen guy. I'm the Harris guy. I think this is really his chance to shine. This is the kind of game I think they brought him in for. A thumper, a run-stuffing linebacker with the experience and the knowledge and the respectability in the locker room to step in for Adonai Hightower now that he's out. It's going to be up to the linebackers to not only stuff the run, but to generate the pass rush they're going to need. Because if Osweiler does have time, I really don't like the matchups in the receiver. Emmanuel Sanders is back. He's always torched the Patriots in the past. Demaryius Thomas is a big guy. Imagine Stephon Gilmore is going to be on him. His first game back from concussion. Who knows what kind of shape he's in, if he's going to have a little rust to shake off. He's been completely exposed in the past. So I think if the linebackers led by David Harris can do a good job stuffing the gaps, dictating the line of scrimmage, and imposing their will, forcing Osweiler to throw the ball, that's how you beat the Broncos offense.
That's a pretty good strategy. And I think that the Patriots' decision to make Cassius Marsh an inactive kind of speaks to how much they're going to try and focus on stopping the run. Because Francois Alan Branch, Lawrence Guy. Those are going to be your three defensive linemen that I think could see a considerable amount of time trying to stop the run in the interior, because usually the Patriots like to have their bare front. They'll have their two defensive tackles out there. They'll have their two edge guys, and then they'll have a strong side linebacker also on the line of scrimmage. I think that the Patriots could change in one of their edge defenders, because Cassius Marsh isn't there, and put another defensive lineman on there. I think Adam Butler could play a really big role, and that's why he's going to be my defensive X factor, because you're going to have Branch and Lawrence Guy, I think, carrying a lot of the weight on the interior. Adam Butler is kind of that flex guy. He's 280 pounds. He's not your prototypical edge defender, but he's going to be playing that 5 technique against the Broncos offensive tackles, and he's going to have to be able to control the line of scrimmage, and he'll be probably playing next to Kyle Van Noy, very possibly. Who knows? David Harris should be in the middle, or Landon Roberts, but Kyle Van Noy should be flanking Adam Butler. Opposite should be Trey Flowers. Patriots will have a really big task ahead of them of stopping this Broncos run game. They've historically struggled against them in the past, particularly with the stretch zone. And when you see the Patriots players having some struggles with their communications over the course of the season, you'd like to think that it's been solidified and fixed and that it's no longer a problem. This will be a game that'll test it from a run perspective, as opposed to the struggles we've seen from communications in the secondary. This will be where the Patriots defensive front seven really needs to work with each other. And ultimately, I think that the Patriots are going to do a pretty okay job at stopping the run, just because they're going to overpower that Broncos offensive line.
No, we're giving a lot of respect to the Broncos offense, as well we should, because it's a kind of a rivalry, a conference opponent in Denver. There's always going to be kind of a crapshoot. But look at the numbers. This offense on the Denver side has been terrible the past couple of weeks. They can't seem to buy a point. They can't get touchdowns. They can't score in the red zone. What are they doing wrong, and how do they rectify it tonight if you're the offensive coordinator of the Denver Broncos?
Yeah, they're doing a lot of things wrong. I think the big problem, when I spoke with Tim Lynch of Mile High Report, he was saying how the Broncos are just shooting themselves in the foot, really, with a lot of their mistakes that they're making. They are one of the most penalized teams in the league with offensive line fouls. So whether it's offensive holding or false starts, and those are penalties that really ruin drives and prevent them from scoring. And I believe they ranked third in the NFL. It's the most. So, I mean, like, they ranked 30th if you're looking at it the opposite direction. They're one of the worst in the league at playing clean, smart football, whereas the Patriots are one of the best. So if I'm the Denver Broncos, I'm going to say we need to have a perfect game. We're going to have no unforced errors, because that's really what's been hurting them, is the unforced errors and all of the turnovers. Because you look at what the Broncos have been doing over the past 4 weeks. They've turned the ball over 3 times, 5 times, and then 2 times. So when you combine those turnovers with those penalties, you're not going to put up a lot of points. So they're going to have to try and clean that up. And on the flip side, Patriots are going to have to try to do a lot to force them to make some errors, to take advantage of any possible interceptable passes. But Patriots are going to have to try and really capitalize on any mistakes that the Broncos put in front of them and not give them a second chance on 3rd down.
Speaking of interceptable passes, do you see Stephon Gilmore on Demaryius Thomas and then Malcolm Butler on Emmanuel Sanders?
Oh, yeah, definitely. We've seen Malcolm Butler cover Emmanuel Sanders in the past, varying degrees of success. I always think that Emmanuel Sanders is one of the most underrated wide receivers in the NFL. He is a very, very great route runner. He's able to attack all levels of the field, and Malcolm Butler is certainly going to have his hands full. And I would not be surprised if in the 3rd quarter, Emmanuel Sanders runs a little out and up. Malcolm Butler will bite on it, and Sanders will get a big play out of it. I think that will happen. Other side of the field, though, I think Gilmore's going to have a pretty good day against Demaryius Thomas. This is why the Patriots brought him in. This will be his first game back from his concussion/ankle injury. But if he's able to replicate his performance that he had against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where he effectively erased Mike Evans from the game, I think that the Patriots will be in a very good position, because Demaryius Thomas is their second leading producer on offense, 525 yards from scrimmage. He's clearly their big target. And so if Gilmore can have any sort of success limiting Demaryius Thomas out there, Patriots should be fine if they continue to stop the run.
I guess the question then, Rich, I should finish is, will they be fine? Will they stop the run? Will the Patriots win this game? Sunday Night Football, Broncos-Patriots has been as close to a rivalry as we've had the past couple of seasons. Prediction for this game, what do you got?
Oh, that's a good one. I think that Patriots will ultimately win this one. I don't think that it's going to be a blowout by any means. I know that a lot of the odds makers and people throwing money down in Las Vegas are really betting on the Patriots with there being a 7-point favorite. I don't know. Just because the Patriots have always struggled in Denver, this should be a close game. I do think that the Patriots win. Maybe the Broncos will score something late, and the Patriots will need another last-second play to secure their victory. But Patriots win 24-19.
24-19 Patriots for Rich Hill. Again, my gut instinct tells me actually a convincing Patriots win tonight, something like 21-6. So I'm going the complete opposite. As always, I'm George Costanza in this one. I see the Patriots coming out. They're going to be lethargic, a little rusty after the bye week. Going to have a really hard time moving the ball, getting a really hard time generating yards. I think a defensive turnover, Brady interception, or a fumble that gives Denver great field position for them to punch it in. I predict a very sloppy, low-scoring field goal fest with Denver winning 15-12.
Ooh, that's going to be a really boring game to watch tonight.
Correct.
I hope you are absolutely wrong, and we'll have more information on this game at patspulpit.com. We'll have immediate insight following the game. We will have play reviews and snap breakdowns on the website throughout the week. We'll break down all of the quotes from the post-game talk as soon as possible. Alec, do you have any final thoughts before we sign off?
In the words of Vince Lombardi, run it and let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hope the Patriots secure their win, move on to 7-2. That would just simply be lovely. Alec, until next time, have a good one.
See you, buddy.